Hey guys, welcome back to New England Fire Cooking. I'm Aaron Higgins and we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up. So needless to say, I want to show you guys how I like to make corned beef and cabbage. Now, I look forward to this every single year and it's real easy to do. These things go on sale, I want to say the week before. So I think I bought 3 briskets for about 24 bucks, which is pretty good. And what I did, the reason why it has this whitish look to it is because I put it in a stock pot. This is a point cut. I've got 2 flat cuts sitting in the stock pot, but I wanted to pull this out and show you. The reason it has this whitish color to it instead of red is because I let it soak overnight. I always put these things right in a stock pot, fill it full of water, and I just let it soak overnight and let some of that salt come out because these things are so salt heavy, it's unbelievable. So what we're gonna do is I'm not gonna really trim any of this. This is gonna cook down and shrink right up. Point cut tends to have a little bit more fat on it anyway. And what we're gonna do here is we've got our pickling spices. If you buy a brisket and it comes with one of these, make sure you don't throw it away. Make sure you set this aside. You're gonna need these. And then I have just a 6-pack of Keystone Light. You can use anything you want really, but I like to use like a very light fizzy beer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this over to the stove because we are gonna simmer these first before they go on the smoker. Okay, so as you can see, we've got 2 flat cuts in here. Okay, and each one of these is between about 2 and 3 pounds. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get all these in the stock pot, and then we're just gonna pour our beer in on top of the meat. We'll put 6 beers in here, and then after that, we're gonna top it off with water, and then we're gonna simmer it for about 50 minutes a pound. Now what we'll do, we'll just top it off with some water. You want to make sure that all your meat's covered. All right, now that that's all set, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our stove to high and we're gonna bring this to a boil. Once this comes to a boil, we're gonna reduce our heat and we're just gonna let it simmer for about 50 minutes a pound or until the briskets are fork tender. Stick around. Okay guys, as you can see, we're up to a boil. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower this heat. Now that I lowered the heat, we're gonna let this simmer for about 3 hours. Okay guys, so these briskets have been simmering for exactly 3 hours, and as you can see, they're fork tender. So now it's time to pull these out and set them on a rack, and we want to let them dry. So we're going to leave these briskets on this rack right here, and we're going to let them dry until they're dry to the touch, and then we'll be able to marinate them and get them on the grill. The water that you have left over in the stock pot, keep it, and just turn it down to low to keep it warm, because we're going to boil our veggies in this. To smoke this corned beef, we're going to be using B&B lump charcoal, and we're going to be using chunks of pecan. It's going to give it a really good flavor. So to get this fire started, I'm going to use a wax cube. We'll blast this with a torch. And then we'll just set our charcoal on top of it and let it go to work. We'll give that a few minutes and we should be good to go. Once you get your fire going, it's important to remember to keep your vents wide open. Same thing with the stack. We got to let this really come up to temperature. We're going to be cooking between 300 and 350 today. We're going to be running pretty hot. So keep those vents wide open until you get to about 300 degrees, and then you can start to ratchet it back a little bit. Okay guys, so what I have right here is I've chopped up a 32-ounce package of carrots, 1 head of cabbage, about between 3 and 5 pounds of potatoes, and I just quarter those, and 2 yellow onions, and I quarter those as well. Now that we got our broth back up to a boil, we're gonna add these to the broth, and we're gonna let them roll for about 45 minutes to an hour. Once you get all your veggies in the broth, your temperature of the broth is gonna drop a little. You wanna return this to a boil, and then once you hit a boil, lower your heat and let it simmer for 45 minutes to an hour. Okay guys, so we've let these dry for about 40 minutes, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get them off this rack and we're gonna into this pan, and we're gonna hit them with some marinade. And to marinate this corned beef, I'm gonna be using this Larry's or however you pronounce it, the Caribbean jerk marinade. I really like this stuff, gives it a great flavor. And you can go really liberal with it. You wanna slather these briskets in this marinade. Okay guys, so here we are. I hit these grates with a little cooking spray. Now I'm just gonna set them just left of center. Get it closed. Come back in 45 minutes to 1 hour. Okay guys, this corned beef is looking absolutely incredible. It's time to get this off, get it on the cutting board, and give it a taste. Okay guys, so here we are. We've got our briskets right on the cutting board. This marinade tacked up really, really nice. You even got some char on this. If you want to have a little bit more blackening, a little bit more char, you can throw it on direct heat for a shorter period of time, or you can run your smoker a little bit hotter, and that's fine. Before I get right into this, I want to do a run through of what we did. We got some corned beef brisket from the grocery store. We put it in a stock pot and filled it full of water and let them sit overnight to pull some of the salt out of this meat. And then we drained that water out. We dumped a 6-pack of cheap beer on top of this meat, and then we topped it off with water, and we let it simmer for 50 minutes a pound, and then we pulled it out and we let it dry on a rack for about a half hour. You could go an hour if you wanted to. And then what we did was we slathered some Larry's, however you pronounce it, Caribbean jerk marinade all over this meat. And then after that, we got it on the smoker and we ran it at 350 degrees over some B&B charcoal and some pecan chunks. And this is our end result. For our veggies, what we did was after we pulled the meat out of the broth, we added the veggies to the liquid in the stock pot that we cooked the meat in, and we let it roll for about an hour. Just simmered it, brought it to a boil. Once it got to a boil, we lowered the heat and we let it simmer for about an hour. Now I can't wait to get into this. I'm gonna go for this one right here, and I'm just gonna make a slice right across the grain. And that is looking really, really good, you guys. You can go about 1/4 inch thick, just like that. And that's pull apart tender. This is gonna be awesome. And here we go. Flavor, flavor, flavor. You cannot go wrong with this. I mean, that is just coming apart like nothing. It is unbelievable. A jerk marinade gets right in there. High sugar marinades are awesome for stuff like this. And you can do whatever. You can throw teriyaki on this. You do any kind of marinade you want. It's not gonna be bad, trust me. It just melts in your mouth. It's really, really good. You can't go wrong with something like this. Something like this for St. Patrick's Day. You cook this and you have people over, you are going to be everybody's best friend, let me tell you. That's just great. There's almost no chewing to this at all, guys. It's just really, really good. And of course, it's got a little bit of this veggies, cabbage, carrots, onions, potatoes. I mean, look at that. That carrot is fork tender. That is awesome. You don't need a knife for this meal at all. It was great. potato. Cooking your vegetables in the broth that you cooked your meat in just gives it so much flavor. You can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. This is unbelievable. I should cook this more often. I could eat this every single day. And my father tells me he can eat this every single day. He loves this stuff. Nice tender cabbage. Guys, listen. This is a cheap one. It's an easy one. And you don't have to do this on the grill. You could do it in a crock pot. You could do it right on the stove. I've seen a bunch of people do this a bunch of different ways. You can smoke it right out of the package. You don't have to simmer it like I did. You know, you can't really screw this up unless you undercook it. This is just unbelievable, guys. Well, there's a house full of hungry people here that want to get right into this. But if you like what you see here and you like what we're doing on this channel, give us a subscribe, click that bell. We're going to be putting content out like this all year round. Check us out on Instagram, check us out on Facebook. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.